Can you believe it's already day 3, right? Are you feeling renewed, refreshed, a little reset? Like maybe you have a little bit of space in your calendar or in your head. I love the fact that you guys have been thinking about oranges and Skittles. You've been making decisions around what your CEO operating hours are. You are, identifying decisions that you're like, okay, today's the day. I'm making this decision, and we'll have a minute to share some wins and stuff like that in just a minute. But right, today we're going to be talking about something that gets way too cluttered, way too fast, and that is our digital spaces. And there are a lot of them these days, right? In some ways it's nice because you don't see the piles of paper. I remember back in the day when like my business was like all these piles of paper and binders and stuff like that. And now it's like pretty much I can just take my laptop and my planner and be good. And yet I think it is even more cluttered because you can't see it. So it's a lot easier just to kind of shove it. You know how you'd like shove stuff behind a door and like the door barely closes to that cabinet or to that closet because you just want to get it out of sight? I don't know. I feel like maybe this digital stuff, it's easy to kind of shove it somewhere and pretend it's not there, but then it's still affecting us and things like that. So, okay, real quick before we jump in today, I'm going to drop the links to the day 1 and day 2 replay emails. For some reason, both Tracy and I didn't get either of them. And so I'm wondering if anybody else experienced that problem because your daily free bonus tool is inside. So if you are not getting the replay emails, I'm not sending them any differently than the reminders. So why the reminders come through but not the replays, I don't know. Maybe because it has a YouTube link in it. I'm not sure what's going on. So those are the links for day 1 and day 2. Yeah, sometimes they're going in spam folders, but like even for me, I go to my spam and my promotions and I still don't see it. And I do a search and nothing comes up. So depending on what email platform you use, it has different filters of ways that it's trying to protect us from having overflowing inboxes. So I guess we should be thankful, but sometimes it keeps away the things that we really want. So I want to make sure to drop that in there. Let me also drop the guide that we've been working with all week because this is what is going to be super helpful today. Again, as we are working through all of this today. Okay. All right, before we dive in, Laura is not here today. She actually is on an airplane, or she might be off the plane by now, but she was heading away with some friends and her husband for a birthday celebration. So I know she'll want to listen back to this. So let's give her a good show here, you guys. Who wants to share a win from yesterday where we talked about how to declutter the overthinking? Who here either identified a decision or actually process through the options on a decision? Maybe you even followed through and took a next step on a decision. Or you just finally said, okay, I'm not going to overthink anymore. Now I've got this way. When I have a decision to make, I don't have to keep putting it off. I'd love, for one or two of you to unmute and share what was a win for you around a decision. And if you want, the rest of you want to drop stuff in the chat, you're more than welcome to. But who has a win around a decision made or decision making? Yeah, Rochelle, I'm not sure why it's blocking from some people too. So that's why I wanted to give that to you. Anyone want to hit unmute and share a win about a decision? Did you make a decision? Identify a decision? I added all my working hours into my calendar. Yay. I love that. That is a decision right there too, right? Yeah, I just got off a coaching call with somebody and I was like, okay, we're going to put up your open for business sign and then let all the people that call you all day long. And I said to her, if you didn't have people calling you all day long, do you think you might be able to get out of your office by 4 o'clock? She's like, oh, yes. I'm like, well, then we need to decide on your office hours and put them up on your door, right? She's virtual, but yeah. Anyone have a decision win?
Yes. Well, I'm not sure if it's really a decision win, but okay. I think really sifting through the facts and the stories. Mm-hmm. And as I was filling that out, I was actually more facts were coming to my head around my businesses and ministries. And I just started, really recognizing the difference between the two. What is a feeling versus what's feeding that feeling could be a truth, but the feeling of something, so that was very helpful.
Yeah. What a great way when you notice those thoughts coming up to push pause and go, wait, is this a fact or is this a story? Because we have to, pay attention to which is which before we let it guide the direction we're going. So I love that. Kind of reminds me of the oranges and Skittles, right? So this might be the oranges and Skittles up in your head. Maybe the oranges are more like the factual, there's a nutrition content, right? On that. And the Skittles are kind of, the stories that we're telling ourselves. So Yeah, that could be a good thing. I see some stuff in the chat. I know what I need to work through with my husband so we can make decisions together. Yes, this could be really helpful if you're doing business with someone else, if you have a team who you are giving some decision making capability to, even just in your personal life, right? With your family, with, maybe your kids who are trying to make an adult decision instead of you just saying, this is what I think you should do. What a great way to take them through that filter. I think that would be good. I love that Lorian updated her scheduled workday while looking at how many hours I actually have when I take out the meetings. Yes. Because you may think, wow, I'm working a lot, but if so much of your time is taken up with meetings, you may realize, oh my goodness, I'm actually not working as much as I realize. And here's where, like, this is the next level, right? Not just what is the time that I'm in my office, whatever that looks like, but are these meetings or whatever it is that's filling it, are they actually moving my business forward? Right? I remember working with a client who realized I think she said over 100 hours of coffee chats in a year she had calculated. That's a lot of time. And she said, honestly, Lissa, most of them did not go anywhere. It was just a whole lot of my time that I felt like I had to say yes every time somebody requested something. And so she made some CEO decisions around how she would filter, whether or not she wanted to actually get on a coffee chat. So she had some qualifying questions before it got to that point, and then how many she could take on in a week's time in order to make sure she still had time for everything else. So yes, love it. Love it. I'm realizing I'm making decisions, and then when I check in with him, he is sometimes thinking differently. Okay, yeah, so if your decision affects somebody else, sometimes as the CEO, we have to make a decision. In Emmy's case, they are partners in what she does, so that makes a lot of sense that you guys have that conversation together. And yet sometimes probably if we always are waiting on somebody else, then we may get back into that place where that decision gets pushed off for a while. So it's always going to be discernment, right? In all of that. So I love it. I love it. Yes. Reevaluating what I attend. So good, Lorian. And again, it's not that things are bad, right? But is this time moving me forward towards what my goals are? Right. And I love the fact that like our goal was one of the things that Laura brought up yesterday when it comes to our decisions, right? Is this decision moving me towards my goal? If not, okay, well, then I have an answer. So how do we really pay attention to what our goals are? And then is this thing going to move me in that direction, whether it's a chunk of time or whether it's a decision moving us forward? And of course, what we're filling our inboxes. Before we get into that, I love that so many of you guys have grabbed a Lock It In session and are going to be joining us in 2 weeks on the 21st. So if you were just joining us, you haven't heard us talking about the Lock It In session, we knew this next the 3-day event that we're together may feel like, okay, this is the start. Okay, I feel really good about this, but we all know how things go, right? It doesn't take a lot of time and the clutter starts creeping back in. The doubt starts creeping back in. The Skittles start creeping back in, right? And we want to make sure that we give you this opportunity to really get nitty gritty, not in doing more things or new things, but in really like locking in what action steps you're taking this week and getting Tracy and Laura and my support to help think through, because again, we're teaching you some basic principles, right? We're giving you some kind of a very simple way to like put this tool in place, but you also have, obviously different personal and business circumstances that you need to make sure this works with. And so it's going to be a smaller, intimate room. So we are capping the number of people who can get in there. But it is only $27 to get into that session. It'll be a 90-minute session with the three of us. And so that link is in the chat. And I will kind of keep dropping it as we're talking today, because I have a feeling we're going to get some stuff started today with Tracy here in just a minute. And then we're going to want to make sure that we're locking it in. If you have any more questions about what that looks like, we can hang on at the end and answer some of those questions. But I want to make sure that we get time to get to Tracy. So Tracy, I'm going to go ahead and pin you and make you the star of the show. And I will just kind of be your right hand over here.
Let's go. Are you guys ready for the digital clutter? I want to start with just saying clutter is annoying, but it is not just annoying, it challenges how your brain works. And it's interesting, I happen to just put out an episode with some studies in them about clutter, but I want to just kind of talk about a few of them right now, because when you're running a business, that matters more than most people realize, that clutter around you. So there's one study, researchers at UCLA studied women in their homes and found that elevated cortisol levels when their homes were cluttered. They noticed that their levels were elevated. And I always long ago read a study like this that said them just thinking about the clutter elevated their cortisol levels. And continuous elevated cortisol levels are affecting your body and your health. Another study from Princeton Neuroscience Institute showed that visual clutter competes for attention in the brain. And it's kind of goes with what we've been talking about all week. All of those things are clutter, unmade decisions, all the skittles that are taking up space in our brain. And that reduces our working memory. It slows our processing speed and lowers decision accuracy. So interesting. So, as CEOs, we make decisions all day. So, just notice how decision clutter is quietly creating friction in your leadership, in your business. It's slowing it down. And we want to take care of that. We want to get to it. And it's not necessarily just about folders or links or open tabs. It's just how can we help our brain function and how can we reduce the overwhelm that our brain is experiencing? And not only with just what we have on our computers, but also the world in general and all the information that's available. It's just so much. And I hear everyone saying it lately that they're just overwhelmed and they have so many things and it's just too much for them and all these other things. So order creates peace. And just think about that. If you have order with something, you have more peace about it, just a calm when something is organized or you have order. And then when you have that calm, you can be clear. And I like how Laura did it yesterday. We just created like organized out all the thoughts in our head. And just doing that, I felt that calm. And then calm creates clarity. Then we can be clear. We can hear and learn, lean in, ask God, listen to what our next steps are. And that's what creates the momentum. Having that clear next step roadmap creates the momentum. So today, we're installing two simple structures that support clear CEO decision making. Now, think about yourself. If you have the worksheet, we're going to talk about the step one, diagnosing. And I just want to ask you guys to think about what is actually slowing you down. Where do you notice that friction the most in your business? So you can think, I have examples down there, like I can't find files when I need them. That might be one. I save ideas everywhere. I just got off with a client this morning and she was like, Tracy, I just have ideas. I'm implementing ideas. And she was just so frantic because she had so many ideas. As entrepreneurs, we often do. And she just had an idea and she thought she should implement it right away. Once we created one place for her to store the ideas and get really clear on what her one idea is right now, all of a sudden, that's the order part of it. That's the clarity. And then she has momentum to follow up on this idea that she's put in place right now. Your bookmarks bar is crowded, or maybe you don't even know what a bookmarks bar. You can't find things, or you have 55 tabs open so you don't lose anything and you have them all open. And I've seen browser windows with many tabs each one where they couldn't even, it was like a Google Doc, but it was this big. So they had to click through every single one to find what they need. Maybe your desktop is full. You have, yeah, so small you can't read. Maybe your desktop is full. Maybe it's your inbox feels like a storage spot instead of just where messages are. So what is it for you? And you can type in the chat. What is your biggest point of friction, do you think, regarding the digital clutter? I've greatly decreased my tabs and I still have too many. Really working on this. So today we're going to help you do that even more. All of those. Yes, all of them. And we could say that, and that's what's a little bit so overwhelming is we have all of them so we don't start because we don't know where to start because we have so many. I'm a post-it queen. Yes, so many post-it notes. We need to use this concept I'm about to teach you. The inbox too, I say save ideas in too many places and then don't use them anyway. Yeah. Okay. The next thing that we want to look at is, well, whenever you have a lot of clutter, choosing just one thing to start with is really helpful. So we're going to look at two, And then as we get off the call and as you have a plan to move forward, you're going to be able to choose which one are you going to start with. When, if you think about one area, like just pick one of the things we mentioned, your digital files, your inbox, your tabs that you need to get to. If one area feels organized, how will that change your business? What will change about how your business feels to you? You can type that in the chat too. Organization isn't really just about the files, it's about your identity, about how you're thinking about yourself, your ability, your are you an organized business owner? Do you make organized decisions? Do you have structures in place? It's fully stepping into how a CEO would operate. So it's changing the practical sides, but it's also changing how we think about ourselves and the identity. Okay, one concept I want to teach you, and then we are going to go into the really practical workshop part of this. But the concept is called the wonderful one. It's having one place, one thing, one stapler, one place for pens to be stored, one digital file structure that you use across everywhere, one place that you save links that you need. And creating one place has so much power. And what it really does is reduces the decision fatigue. It reduces that memory that's being taken up in your brain. So we want to use that anytime we can. Just this yesterday, I had a call and the woman had a project business. She was a coach in a oh my gosh, I forget what the word is. She worked for a college and she was having a project that she was implementing in a school. And she just wasn't taking action because all these things were swirling around in her head and she didn't know what the next step was. And we created one place for everything for that project to go. One Google Doc. We use the tab features and everything she needs is now in that Google Doc. And all of a sudden, once we had that, it started like you could just see it. Her brain started like, ooh, I know where that goes. Oh, it started calming down. She knew exactly what her next step was because she had one place. So the power of one is really essential. And if you look at your worksheet, the first thing we think about is one place to collect our links, collect the sites that we go to often. Where will that one place be? Today, I'm going to teach you how to use the bookmarks bar to save the sites that you go to often and even to have folders. And we're going to do a fun exercise to save the folders, all the links from this workshop, these workshops in one place on your bookmark bar. The next thing is your digital files. My one place for digital files is there's lots of places where you have digital files. You might have them on your computer, on a Google Drive, on a Dropbox, in OneDrive, in an external hard drive. But if you had to choose one hub that you were going to keep your digital files, the main hub, where would that be? And I often help people decide that by saying, if there's other people that have to get to your stuff, you would need it in cloud storage. If not, you could just start on your computer. And once everything on your computer is organized, if you need to, you can move it to cloud storage. So you pick your one place, and we're going to learn a digital file system that only has 5 folders. And you're going to learn how to do that today. And then ideas. We're not going to talk about this today, but what's one place that you can store your ideas? I have an idea dashboard. It's a Google Sheet. All ideas go in that dashboard, in that Google Sheet, and they are contained by different tabs along the bottom that have the different categories of what the idea might be. Books I want to read, something I want to buy, an idea for a course. All of ideas are in one place. Okay, what already feels lighter? Does anything feel lighter as you're looking at that? Okay, Emmy said easier to get on and do instead of finding what you need. That's a good point because there was a lady who said booked an hour to do a task. She was really working on time management, or what do we call it, Lissa? Not time management. She booked an hour to create a result, and she spent the first 30 minutes looking for what she needed to get the result created. So, of course, she didn't get the result created because 30 minutes of it was looking for what she needed. They say we waste 2 hours a day looking for what we need. And so she then thinks she's really bad at time and she can't get it together and all of that, when really it was just because she couldn't find what she needed. Your business would give you more energy and free to be more present with clients if things were organized. You could exhale and feel peace. You'd save time finding what you need so you can get to work on what will move the needle. Yes. Love Google Docs suggestions for ideas, time stewardship, shows what I need and what I need to set up. Okay, let's get into it, and then you guys can ask specific questions. The first thing I want to talk about today, I chose two things for us to look at for digital clutter. And the first thing I always like to work on with people is to create a foundation for digital files. And I use the 5 files to create a foundation. And so what I've done, I am going to share my screen. And let me delete or move this down before I share. And I'm going to share my screen and we are going to create the 5 files. If you do it on Google Drive, I want you to actually create these while we're working. And if you want to do it on your computer, you can do it on your computer. And I am sharing my entire screen just so you can see everything that might pop up. Little pop-ups sometimes don't show. The 5 files are 1 operations. Are you able to see this or is that too big?
It's like really tiny print, so we can see these really cute little files, but we have no idea what it says.
Okay, how can I do this better?
I wonder
Let
if you can
me,
zoom
let
into your
me,
screen.
I know. Well, in your notes, you actually can see it on the thing. I have them listed there where we're going to create. I can actually, let me try to share just a section of it so that it's bigger. Oh, I haven't done this in a long time. I don't remember how to do it. Yeah. Is it under advanced?
Yes, under advanced and then portion of screen.
Okay. Is it showing the portion? Where did it decide what portion? Oh, there it is down here. Okay.
Looks like right now we can see. There we go. Yes,
There it is.
that's easier to see.
Okay, is that good?
Hmm.
So we want to create folders. And when you think about files coming into your computer, think of a funnel. They come in and it's either personal or business. Okay, that makes sense, right? If I was sorting a bunch of papers on my desk, I would sort them into personal and business. And so I make a personal file, and then all of this is in the business file. So I don't, because I use my computer mostly for business, I don't need to have a business file and then these 5 folders inside. So I put a 0 personal, and then I put 1 operations. That's anything behind the scenes in my business. 2 marketing, anything outside, forward facing that people see. 3 my content, anything I create. 4 is education, anything someone else creates, certifications, courses. There was one other one that is popular. Freebies that I download. And then number 5 is clients. So typically these work for almost every business. A realtor I had once, instead of my content, she called it my properties. So you can rename things instead of operations. Some people like calling it admin. Just makes more sense in their brain. But behind the scenes is operations, outward facing is marketing. My content's my stuff, education is other people's stuff, and then clients. So if you're on your computer, I just right click and I get a new folder. And a new folder opens up, and then I can double click on the name of it, and then I would put one operations. And then I'm just going to put a one after it so it's different. So that's what you do. Those are the first things you do is to create your files. This is a 5-folder structure on your computer. Any questions about that?
Okay, my brain is going, this file's going to get really full. Are there like layers underneath there?
Yes.
Okay, so this is just the top of what we're seeing, and then we can, okay. Because I'm
Yes.
like, I feel like then if I dump everything in that folder, I'm going to be like pulling my hair out. Okay.
Yes. So what I like to do is first create this. So now we have the workflow or the what's that called? My mind is just not working well. But it comes in, it goes into this one or this one, business or personal, and then under business, it's going to go into one of those 5 folders. What I teach people to do to get organized is always to sort first. So now that you have your folder structure set up, you're going to go on your computer and you're going to sort everything into the correct folder. Then you go back into operations. And that's when you make decisions to purge. That's when you make subcategories because you might be dropping a whole folder that you already have into operations. So you already have a folder, but you might have made 14 other folders that have the same name in different spots and whatever. And now everything you have is in one place in operations. And now you can make decisions. Oh, look, there's a duplicate. Oh, look, I already had a folder that kind of has this name. So you're going to just do operations. Then you're going to go just into marketing and you can create subfolders. And the freebie, the bonus that you're going to get is a kind of a diagram that shows the most popular subfolders or ideas for subfolders that you need. It's like a little drawing that has the different subfolders that I suggest. And I always suggest to people be very broad in your subfolders. Like one could say money, one could say legal. All these would be in operations. It's the back end of your business. Nobody sees that. One would say SOPs, your processes. So, but don't make all these folders if you don't need them. You're just going to see what you have and then what you want to use a subfolder, make a subfolder for. If you have more than a few things, then those could go in a subfolder. And I'll show you some examples in just a minute. But does that make sense? And here's one other thing, and then I'll answer some questions. Um, Often, everybody's computer is different. Everyone I work with, we share screens, we do this kind of work together, and everybody's work is different. Everybody's experience is different. So there, you could be like, Tracy, I right-clicked and it didn't come up. So I always tell people, just Google it. Google how to make a folder on, I use a Mac, on my desktop, and you'll get a video. I like to scroll down to see the video and watch the video. So if there's tech issues, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not bad at tech. Stop saying that to yourself. It's just that everything's different. And so you haven't done this before, and so you don't know. So Google anything that you have questions with as far as tech stuff goes. Emmy said, so this is what I would put in documents. I personally start by making it on my desktop, but you could also put them in your documents as well. I keep this on my desktop, these 5 folders. And then I'll show you this. I go into my documents and I start dragging everything into the 5-folder structure. So I open documents and then I have these 5 folders open on my desktop and I go one by one and drag them into the correct folder that they need to go in. Now, there's often times when you're like, well, I think it could fit in marketing, but it's also kind of my content. Sometimes it overlaps. And what I want you to ask yourself is, where would I think to look for it? And the first one that pops into your mind, that's where you've decided it's going to live. That category or that thing is going to live. And it's totally fine. An example of this is brand, your headshots, your bio, all of those things, they could live in marketing because it's outward facing, but they could kind of live in operations because it's like behind the scenes information. It doesn't matter. You just decide which place it's going to live and then you put it there. And that's why I always tell people once you have this file structure and you start making your subcategories, then you print it or write it out and hang it behind your monitor for a little bit so you can see and your brain's like, oh yeah, that's where we put that. Oh, that's right. We already have that file made. It's over there. And you just keep practicing it until your brain is really used to it. Now, none of that space is taken up with figuring out where things are because you're aware, you've practiced it. I use these same 5 folders in my email. On the left side, I have a picture of that. Let me see if I can put it up there. Oop, can you see this? Here's my email. I have due today, pending, receipts, calls, and then the 5 folders right here. So then my brain is like, oh yeah, in my Canva can be a total mess. I have the same folders in Canva. So it helps my brain understand, oh yeah, I'm doing marketing. This is for my content. This is something I used when in some education thing, or this was a template that someone shared with me. It's other people's stuff. So it would go in education, maybe under templates because it's their stuff. This is something I made for a client. It would go in clients. Okay, I am going to stop sharing this. What questions do you guys have about making the folders? And then I'm going to share my whole screen and I want to show you your next step when it comes to files and organizing your files. So I'm going to
I
share.
just,
Yeah, Emmy, go ahead.
I just want to verify because what you were saying is you use the same folder system in basically in anywhere where you would keep files.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
emails in my email. Yeah, things in Canva. So this may be what you're asking too. On my computer, I have, when I first started this, I did it all on my computer. So I made these folders. And I have people that have stuff on their computer and stuff on Google Drive. So they made the exact same folders in Google Drive and got all of that organized. They got the same thing organized on their desktop or their computer. And then they wanted to merge those two together. So they would drag over the stuff from their computer into their drive because they wanted their one hub to be on Google Drive. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yes, because I've got things where I need a Google link because I'm sharing that versus like something else I just have a PDF of and it goes over here.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and so then would everything, like let's say you're in Lissa's program, everything for her would live in your Google Drive under education, under the name of the program or Lissa's name.
Okay. Okay.
So anything you have on your computer, you would move it to Google Drive in her folder. So everything is in one place on your Google Drive.
Okay. I think that makes sense because I that's kind of how I've done my bookmark bar already. So yes, that I've just yes. Okay.
I
I think
know,
that
but
makes sense.
keep asking questions because this is all new. And so I'm sure it's confusing to many people. I want to share my screen now. I'm going to share my whole screen and show you this next part. So what I would suggest to you is first go on your desktop and any loose files laying on your desktop, like this screenshot. Well, I would delete the screenshot. Anything loose that you have on your desktop, you're going to just take it and drag it into whatever folder it goes to. So that's like first, now your desktop is all cleaned up. Then I would open, we call it on a Mac the Finder, and you would go to your downloads folder and you would start cleaning all this up. You would drag things over to where they go. Now, for me, downloads, I probably just delete most of this, but anything that you're wanting to keep, you would drag it over into where it goes into these folders. Then I would go to my documents. I already got rid of all my documents. I don't think I have anything in here that I would take anything that is in my documents and I would drag it into these folders. So I've cleaned out my, and then I could go here, I could go to my Google Drive. See, I have these on my Google Drive. If there's loose documents, you could organize them on your Google Drive. Do that separate. So you've done your desktop, you've done your documents, and you've done your downloads. Those are the three main places on your computer that are going to have a whole bunch of stuff. And I love knowing that it's all in one place right here. Once that's all sorted, then I'm going to go open my operations folder and I'm going to make subfolders. So if I open that, I would put right click, put new folder, and then I would make a folder called money. And my taxes would go in there. What else would go in money? My P&L statements would go in money. And then I notice I have a bunch of like processes that I've documented. So I might have a folder that's called SOPs, and I would slide all my SOPs into that folder. And then what else do you have? Like what loose things are down here that you would want to make a subfolder for? Maybe legal. Maybe you have some contracts. Monica said, I keep files I need to quickly access on my desktop. For example, a discovery call template. Does this make sense to do? Yes. So I would open up clients and I would either have it right here in clients because this is for a new discovery call, or maybe it would go in marketing. I think I would put it in clients. And so you might have a new folder that says discovery call. And you'd open that up and get the template out of that. And maybe you'd keep all the rest of the discovery calls in that folder. So you'd have everything in one place. Budgets, receipts, yes, those things would go in money. So does this make sense? So at first, it's going to feel messy because you're moving things around. But you're going to know they're all in these 5 folders, and then you're going to go back in. You're going to put time on your calendar. You're going to go back in, and you're going to start deleting. If things need to be renamed, you can rename them in this step. You can make subfolders if needed. And then you have everything in one place right here. Rochelle said, I can have these major files and subfolders for multiple businesses, or do you suggest I have separate folders for each business? I like having, for people that have more businesses, I would then, let me close some of these. I would create a new folder and I would say business number 1, or put the initials of the business. And inside that folder, I would have all of these in that business number 1 folder. Then for business number 2, I would have all those file folders for that business. Does that make sense, Rochelle? And you guys can keep anything on your desktop that you need to, like if that's easy to grab, because Monica was saying she has the blank template on her desktop, but once it's filled out, she moves it to a client folder. You totally can keep it on the on your desktop if you want to. No problem. And let me share. Let me pull this up here. I'm going to make this bigger, and then I'm going to show you one other thing. Let me go here and open my drive. So my Google Drive has these on there, and I keep out of the drive my podcast folder. It's my marketing, but it goes in podcast. So it's two, I labeled it 2.1 because I could slide it in here because it is marketing, but because I get to it so much, I keep it outside the folder. Same with these two programs that I have. They're my content, but I get to them a lot. I don't want to click in there every time. So I have them outside the folder. And the reason I put the numbers in front of it, because when you clean up your folder, your desktop, and you make them go in order, they'll go in alphabetical order and numbers will go first. So these folders will always be at the top. Okay, good. The examples got in the wrong line. Yes, because we were going to do the bookmarks bar first, but I wanted to do the to do this first. Okay. Now, let me stop sharing for just a minute. And then I just want to say, now that you have your 5 folders and you're going to sort, that's the first step to organizing anything. And then you're going to purge. You're going to go back into each of those individual folders and purge. And then you're going to assign homes. You're going to make any subfolders that you need to have. That's the organization part. Now you know exactly where things are. Of course, it's going to take a bit for you to get good at that, for it to be, for your brain to be used to running it through that workflow, running it through that system, and knowing what to do. So don't get discouraged if you're like, wait, I can't find something now. I moved it. You'll learn. It'll be in one of those 5 folders. And that gives you a really strong foundation. It frees up a lot of space in your brain. Any other questions with the folders? And then I want to look up the initial setup will be brutal, but then it will be so worth it. So think the initial setup, make the 5 folders. The next setup, the next step, sort your desktop into those folders or wherever they are, your drive or whatever else you're using. Sort into those folders. The next step, then go to your documents. Next, go to your, so you can just set like 15-minute little increments where you're sort. One lady told me, one client said, Tracy, I couldn't sleep in the night. I got up at like 3 a.m. and I sorted for 2 hours. And she said it was so fun. I said, who would have thought that you said it was so fun? Okay. We could stop there. But I'm going to show you one other thing. So you always have the replay. Don't get discouraged if this is just too much for you. But I do want to show you one other thing that I love, love, love. So I'm going to share my screen again and I'm going to show you the bookmarks bar. This is my bookmarks bar. Oops, right here. Oops, I keep grabbing stuff. And it has every link that I get to, every site that I go to a lot. So this doesn't have my like my brand link or my call link. It doesn't have that kind of stuff necessarily on it. I'll show you where I put that, but this has sites that I go to all the time. So every day I'm opening my Google Drive. Here's my calendar. Here's my email, ChatGPT, the back end of my website, Voxer, Kajabi, Canva, Amazon, and Podbean. All those are the ones I use all the time. Then I make folders for other things. So you might want to make a folder for the reset. If you're going to go back and use these things and refer to the things for this time instead of not knowing where they went and having to go search an email. So what I did with the links that Lissa just had given us of the replays is I opened them so they're all right here across the top. And I'm going to go to the day 1 replay, and I'm going to click this star, and I'm going to save it to my bookmarks bar. And I'm going to put it in a folder. So I'm going to click can you guys see this pop up? No. Okay. Let me share the whole screen. Um,
And I saw you had folders in your bookmark bar. I didn't even know that was a thing.
I know
Are you going to
it's
show
so
us?
fun.
Okay.
Yes. I'll show you all the things. Okay, so here is day one of the replay. The other thing, can you guys see this up here where it says Chrome file? Let me back up a second. First of all, decide the one browser that you're going to use. If you use Chrome or Safari or something else, you're going to pick one and always use one as much as possible. Remember, we use the wonderful one concept. I go to view, and I don't think you're going to be able to see the pop-up. Can you see the pop-up there when you click view? Oh, you can? I put always show bookmarks bar. Check that on because then this line right here is always going to show. Someone had it where if she opened a new tab, it showed, but it didn't show if she had a tab already open. Maybe you want that, but for now, click view and always show bookmarks bar. Okay, and here's the other thing I love is when I have an icon that I know, like Google Drive, I know, all of these I know. I don't want any words after them because I just want the icons to be all on the left, and then I want to have my folders next to them. So let's do an example. Let's just go to, what's a website I could go to? Well, let's do,
RedeemHerTime.com.
yes, let's do that.
Probably not the reset part, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to go to this site. Let's say I want to save this site. I'm going to click. Now, also remember, everybody's using something different, a different computer. It's all different. So I always tell people, and I do the same thing, search it. Like if it's not, if it doesn't look like mine, I'm on a Mac and I'm on Chrome. So if it doesn't look like mine, you're going to say, how do I save a site to my bookmarks bar on a PC using Windows or whatever? So you're going to search that and it's going to tell you how to do it. So for me, I click this star right here and I want it on my bookmarks bar so I don't have to change that. But if you want it somewhere else, you would choose another folder down here and I'll show you how to create a folder in just a second. But you want it on your bookmarks bar. And let's say I know the icon. So I'm going to delete all of this and then I'm going to push done. Now, because I have more things, it's going to show up way down at the bottom and I'm going to grab it and drag it over right here. So now redeem her time is right here. So some people are like, Tracy, oh, I can't not have a words after it. I need to have the words because I don't know what it is. And I'm like, okay. I mean, put some words so I can right click on it and I can edit and I could put redeem her time. Now, I don't want to type the whole thing out because it's going to take up like a whole huge part of my bookmarks bar. So I'm going to just do that. Now it has RHT after it. Okay. So whenever, like, if I want to edit this because I want to put something after it, I just push edit. Someone else was telling me, and I did a call right before this, that hers didn't have edit. It had rename, but she tried to rename it up here and it didn't have the word done, so she couldn't save it. So she was going to have to Google, like, how do I get it to just not have anything? I just want the icon. Here's the next thing. Let's say you're in Lissa's program and you want to have, so I can right click on this and edit. And I'm going to put I'm going to make sure bookmarks bar is blue or highlighted. And I'm going to put new folder. And it made a new folder down here. And I'm going to put, let's put that as redeem her time. Let's have that a folder be named that. And we're going to save it in the folder. So now I have to go back over here, grab the folder and drag it right here. So then this is what's so cool. So any program you're in, this is what you need to do because it's so awesome. Then you're going to have day one. Like I want to make sure I can find the replay this week when I'm working on this. So I'm going to save this. I'm not going to have it in my bookmarks bar, so I'm going to save it in another folder. Click this little arrow. Oh, and there it is, RHT. So now I hover over this. I have her site. I have day one. Well, I want to have the guide so I don't lose the guide. And so I'm going to go up here. I'm going to click the star. It's already now it's starting to do it itself. It's showing that folder because I've used it a lot. So it's going to stick it in the folder. And I'm doing this for myself because I want to go back and look at the guide. I'm going to save day 2 in there. I'm going to save this 5-minute self-sabotage from Laura. Oh, this one was the guide. The other one was the bonus, I think. I'm going to save that in there. Oh, and this is the reset. I want to save the reset so I can register for the reset. So I'm going to save that in there. So look at this. Now I click on this and everything I need is right here. And I don't have to keep all these things open. So I'm going to shut all my tabs because I know
You do
exactly where
folders
they are.
inside of a folder, or is it just one folder and then just a list?
You can do folders inside. So my podcast, I click on that. I have the things I use, and then I have like education in here. I have analytics, places I go to get my analytics. And then a pod tool, like one of my podcasts had the most uneven volume level with a guest, and I searched it and I saved the how to do it. And I went back to this like 2 or 3 times to fix it. And it's so great because I have this saved in my bookmarks bar. So yeah, you can do folders inside a folder. Any courses you're in, you can save them all the logins right here. I have my clients saved here by initial so nobody knows who they are. And so when I have a call with them, I just click on that and I open their notes. It's in a Google Doc. Oop. Okay, so what questions do you guys have? And let me pull the chat up and I'll keep my screen up in case you want me to share something. You have changed my life. LOL.
That's the second time someone said that in the last 2 minutes. So
Yes, it is so cool. Did I already tell you this? I went to my son's house like 3 years ago and he was working in his apartment. He goes, Mom, look at my bookmarks bar. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like I learned this from him. He showed me how he did it and I ran home immediately and it's been like one of the best things I've ever done. So now what you guys do is take your tabs that you have open and start looking at what it is. How can you get it organized? Is it something you need to come back to? Now, this doesn't mean go crazy and save everything. But if it's something like, let's say you have a bunch of tabs open that you want to read. Oh, I don't want to close that because I want to read it. Make a folder that says to read and then save those and start closing your tabs so that your brain is like, oh, thank you. We're just working on this. We just have these few tabs open that we're working on. This is going to take some time getting used to, absolutely, but I think it's going to be better for me. Yes, it's going to take time, you all. Make sure you're gentle with yourself, you're compassionate with yourself. You remember to search. Don't give up. Just go search. I have to do that all the time. I missed how you get to bookmarks. I'm not very familiar with it. How can I make it viewable like you have? Yes, well, here's 2 things. Over here, now why isn't it showing up down here? See, like for me right now, this is something looks different. I think because I need, nope, that's not it. There's a thing over here that usually opens the bookmarks. Yeah, this up here for me, new Chrome available, that clicking that menu up here, I can go down to bookmarks and lists. And then I go over to bookmark manager. And when that opens, I get behind the scenes. Like I can see all my bookmarks. So let's say I want to like clean stuff up. I can, move things around in here. You can also do it up here. And then to make sure that's up all the time, Rochelle, I think it was your question, go up to view and then always show bookmarks bar. Hopefully that helps. And if you don't know, just Google, like, how do I get my bookmarks bar to show up on Safari on a Mac or Chrome on a PC? Love the idea. Any reason to do it on your computer as opposed to Notion or somewhere else? Do you mean the 5 files or do you mean the bookmarks, like saving things? And Wendy said, how do I get the icon? So if I'm going over here, let's say my site, simplysquaredaway.com, and if I want to save it, I click save. Let's say I'll just put it in, well, let's put it on the bookmarks bar. And then I'm just gonna delete all the words. And when you save it, it's going to show up. It's going to show just the, oops, I just put it in there. It's going to show up as the icon. Yeah, you can't see it when you first do it, but it's going to have it's called the favicon. It's going to have that. Yep. Yes, it is. So Jen says, I'm so out of sight, out of mind. This will let me quickly tuck it away, knowing it's saved and I can access it quickly. Yes, I think that's part of it. We leave stuff open because we think we want to remember it, but yet then our brain is just being used up. All its storage is being used up and processing speed is being used up because all those things are open. So now we can feel safe that we have it, but we know how to get to it if we need it. I no longer have to shout, don't touch my computer. Yes, when someone's like about to close your browser and you're like, wait, I have all this stuff. Okay, Lorianne, your question was, oh, as any reason to do it on your computer as opposed to Notion or somewhere else? Nope, it's just deciding where you're going to store it. If everything can be stored in Notion, then do make those 5 file folders in Notion. But just deciding on the one place that's going to be your central hub for your documents. And I always say too, let's say you have a podcast and you have a system already set up with someone that works on it and it's already in Dropbox. Don't change that. Like let that be the one place you do your podcast. But let's say all your other stuff is in Google Drive or on your computer. Then start there and organize that. This will speed things up too because don't multiple tabs open slow things down? Yes. And Emmy says, yes, I'm experiencing this too. Yeah. Okay, what other questions? The last part on the worksheet says to schedule when you're going to do the following. So I tried to break it down just like I talked to you in the training to finish cleaning, no spaces, finish cleaning my bookmarks bar, close your remaining tabs. You can go through each of those things if you want. And this is why you're going to be working on that and things are going to come up and questions, you're going to have questions. That's why go sign up for the reset lock it in, and you can come and bring all your questions to that call. Practice, do as much Google searching as you can, and then bring questions and we can talk about all those things I think it's the 21st. Yes, some of you have to go. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Tracy.
Tracy,
Yes.
could the getting it to go to an icon to a folder, which of the things did you click? Did you click the folder or did you click edit?
To get the icon to go to the folder. So I right click on the icon.
Uh-huh.
Well, you can just drag it. You can drag it over.
Well, I was like, because you took the thing and then you turned it into a folder. I'm sorry, I was trying.
Oh yeah, let me show you
I was
again.
just playing with that and I'm trying to figure it out. Maybe okay.
Yeah, let me show you again. So if I'm going to save this one, you can tell it's saved because it's blue. So it's already on my computer. But if I want to save it to a folder, is that what you're saying? So I click bookmarks bar. I go down to choose another folder and it opens up. So mine has this little caret thing here. So I click that and opens all my folders up. If I want a new folder, it's right down here at the bottom.
Okay, but you took the redeem her time thing, you took that and turned it into a folder. How did you
Oh,
do that?
okay. So what I did is let me get this one. Let me move this one back up because it's the same thing I did. So if I wanted to move this into a folder, I clicked on it. Oh gosh, I right clicked on it and edited.
Edit. Okay.
And then I put new folder.
Okay. Okay.
And then I scrolled down. So here's my new folder and I made that, let's say mine would be SSA for Simply Squared Away. And then I saved it. So now if I drag this folder that I just made up here, it's going to have the icon in it.
Okay. Okay.
Does that make sense? So
Yes. I'm just trying to figure out how to do what you did and then I can move things around. So
yes, yes. And if there's something in a folder, I don't take the words off. Like here, all hers have words after them. Like I don't take the words off usually if it's in a folder because there's going to be so many links. But just the icons up here, I like to have without words.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, you all take a deep breath. Don't get overwhelmed. There's a lot that I showed you. You have the replay. You can go back to the replay.
And we're going to get you in a couple weeks after we've played around with this and said, wait, now here's what I need, right? That's why we planned this, you guys, because we're like, okay, we know you're going to get into your calendar. You're going to start putting those CEO hours in. You're going to start using that guide that you got day one to think about the other important things in your day. And you're going to be like, okay, but Lissa, I homeschool and run a business. But Lissa, I have multiple businesses. But Lissa, I, fill in the blank of what the but is. Right, when it comes to your decisions, you're going to be like, okay, and this is a decision I'm working through. But Laura, I have, more than two options. Or, but Laura, how do I, really know if this is a story or if this is a fact? And, again, we're going to get down to Tracy and be like, okay, I'm getting stuff up here, but Tracy. So that's why we're inviting you guys to come back. Okay, we intentionally planned it 2 weeks out from yesterday. It would be because it's happening the 21st, so that you have some time to start doing the things we talked about. And we tried to, even though each of these areas, you guys, could have been a full 3 days in itself, right? Like Tracy could have taken us 3 days through a whole bunch of stuff. We really tried to narrow it down to one thing that is going to make you feel like, oh, I can breathe. I don't have to always feel like I'm chasing something, whether it's the tabs across the top of my desktop or it's the thoughts in my head when I'm trying to decide something, or my schedule that is always a runaway train. We try to each day give you one simple, this is something to focus on. Here's a way that you can do it. And we want you to start working on that. Okay. We want you to take what, I love that Tracy's like, yes, you should be saving those replay emails in a place where you can come back to them, because you might want to turn it back on and go through it again. You might want to make sure that you save those daily bonus tools. In fact, you're going to be getting one from Tracy today when I send out that replay. So make sure that you do that. Here's the thing, you guys. Again, I don't know why for some of us, Tracy and myself included, we're getting the reminder emails beforehand, but then we don't get the replay emails, and I'm the one sending it to myself. I don't know why that's happening. So if you have not seen day 1 and 2 replays, let me grab that link again and drop them in the chat so you guys can have those, because that is the only place you can find the bonus tools are in those. If you're listening to this somewhere else and you're like, I want them too, then all you have to do is register, which is redeemhertime.com/reset. And it will automatically send you all those replays. You will have all the bonuses and everything in there. Inside of those emails, not only are the daily bonuses, you also have 2 options. Get to choose your own adventure for how you want to consume the replay. Do you want to watch the YouTube, which may be really helpful for Tracy's day because you're visibly trying to watch her do something? Do you want to do the on-the-go audio? That may be a great way to refresh on something, is use that private audio feed So you get to choose, what you want to do inside of those emails. So make sure that you save those. If for some reason you do not get the day 3 replay, I want you to send an email to lissa@redeemhertime.com. That comes directly to me because I want to make sure that I get this for you. If you don't get this, so it's 2:00 right now. Usually I have the replay and everything turned around within the hour. So I would say if you don't see it by 4 or 5 o'clock Central Time today, send an email to lissa@redeemhertime.com. And I will make sure that, I like old fashioned just forward it to you, right? However I need to get it to you so that you can have that. I'm not sure why some email, systems are playing hide and go seek with the replay email, but not the other ones. Probably because there are multiple links inside. So they think that it's like some spammy thing or something like that. So, yes, the replays come to your inbox, Monica. I just dropped the day 1 and day 2 replays there in the chat. So you should be able to click on that. It will take you right to the URL for that email. And then like Tracy just showed us, you can save that email link so that you always can come back to it. And then day 3s will be sent out today. The replays are not inside the guide. If you just want to go, straight to the audio replays, those I can show you where that is.
Well, and the bonuses are in the replay. There's a link inside the replay email that has the bonus, right?
Yes. That link I just dropped is for the audio feed. If you just want to go straight to the audio feed, but again, it will not have the bonus in there because you have to have that via the email. We want to make sure that we were getting it to the people who had registered and were showing up and things like that. So if you don't get an email by, I'd say 5 o'clock tonight, send me an email, lissa@redeemhertime.com. Say, Lissa, I need, and tell me what day replays you need, okay? You might need 1, 2, and 3, and if I need to send you the links to all 3, I'm happy to do that. I will make sure everybody gets it. Inside of those emails is also the link for you to be able to grab a spot for that Lock It In session. I'll drop it in here one more time for those of you who are on live, because this is going to be really important, so that way you can work out the kinks and really go, okay, this is working, and do any testing, tweaking, things like that over the next couple of weeks. Bring your questions. We'll get to have conversations, work through each of the 3 areas. So you'll get access to all 3 of us, and really just make sure we lock it in, as this is the new way I operate. No more going back to all the tabs open. I always talk about how much time that wastes right there. If you can't read what is across the top, I mean, if you can see the icon, you might know pretty quickly, but how many of you have like 3 Canva ones open, so you have no idea which is which? Or how many Google ones, right? So you're wasting a lot of time playing hide and go seek with your tabs or with your files, and in your inbox and things like that. So anyway, we're going to be saving you time so you can actually focus on the business you're called to grow and go live your life, right? Go live your life and go do the other things that God has called you to. So I hope this has been valuable for you guys. I'm so glad that you're here, whether you were with us live just one day or all 3 days. I hope this has been really good. So before we go, I want to hear some ahas or will do's from today. Did you make a CEO decision about a wonderful one? Like, this is the one place I'm going to go for this. Anybody already create some of those folders in a place? So we want to hear about that. Or anybody feel really good about knowing what to do with that link? So that way, when you've got that tab open, you're not like, I have to keep this open or I'll never find it again. Would love to hear if maybe 1 or 2 people want to unmute and share out loud. That would be great. And or drop it in the chat. What was a win or a will do from today? Already made the folders in my documents. Yay. Love it. I love the bookmark bar. The fact that I can actually make it go down to the icon, Tracy, like that is huge. I had no idea you could do that. Now I'll save myself some space. And then making folders in the bookmarks, that's brilliant. That was my aha. I had no idea that was possible. Okay, so yes, Emmy, good reason for you to come back for sure. I've been waffling on the one place. So look at this, okay? We're going to put Laura and Tracy together, and you're going to make some decisions. You're going to make time to make decisions about your digital one wonderful one place, right? We're going to put all 3 of these together, Lorianne, so that way you're not putting things in multiple places going, I'm going to figure this out later. Like, just make a decision. And here's the beautiful thing. Just like Laura taught us yesterday, we can revisit that decision down the road, right? So maybe you choose one place to store a bunch of stuff and it kind of ends up feeling a little clunky or not being the best place to have put it. Okay. So let's see if it just has to work the kink outs or whatever. And then come back and go, okay, I need to make another CEO decision that this actually needs to move to this place. Right. And then you know how to get everything over there. So yeah, Amy says, I will be implementing all of this. I'm so glad. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, you guys. Well, it's been really fun hanging out with you for 3 days. I love seeing the growth over this. We can't wait to come back with those of you who come back for the Lock It In session in 2 weeks. So until then, we can connect over inside the Redeem Her Time community. So if you're not in there yet, redeemhertime.com/community. And that's where we can be talking about how we're working on things, what's happening, and also where you get to promote who you are, what you do, and what you have to offer. If you have a workshop coming up, if you've got some kind of a special coming up, if you're offering something to work with somebody in a specific area, you're looking for a podcast guest, you want to be a podcast guest, like I want this to be like a marketplace for Christian women in business where we can, share our wares and not, feel like we're not allowed to talk about it, and find other people who also would love to support other small businesses. So come on over into the community and share there as well. So anything else, Tracy, you want to share before we go?
No, just pick one of those things and keep going on that one thing until you get really good at it and then move to the next thing.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. All right, you guys, any questions about the Lock It In session? I said that we would answer questions if you have questions about that. It's going to be 90 minutes. It will be recorded, and I will give you an opportunity to ask questions ahead of time if there's something you want to make sure, especially if you can't be on live. So don't make that be, I always say, don't let time be the obstacle. We make it work. We figure out a way. But it'll be happening from 1 until 2:30 Central Standard Time on April 21st. Like I said, it's $27 through Friday, and then that's going up to $47. So if you're thinking about it, you've been waffling on it, you're like, I don't know, do I need it? Do I not? Like, how can this not help you, right? Take the next step and really solidify the steps that you've taken in all of this. So make sure that thank you, Emmy. Yes, I try to be really generous with time and opportunities to get to talk about you, and you meet some amazing people. So come on over into the community. All right, you guys, I'll get the replay up and out. Again, if you do not see the replay by 5 o'clock Central Standard Time today, please send an email to lissa@redeemhertime.com. I want to make sure that you get it so you can get Tracy's extra bonus tool today. And if you're missing any of the other days, you can email me at that email address as well, and I will make sure that I get that over to you, okay? All right, and if there's anything else we can do for you in the next couple weeks, we will see you over inside the community. Thanks so much for being here. We'll miss you tomorrow. This time tomorrow, I'll be like, where are my friends? It's all good. All good things must come to an end. So, all right. Thanks, you guys.